Hello, everybody. This is Reverend Chris with Divine Interventions, and I come to you. This is the first time in 23 days since I have done my last view from 40,000 feet. What's going on? Now, I have to tell you that what I am telling you today is something that I have wanted to do for a number of weeks because I have seen this playing out or beginning to play out, both personally for myself and in everything around me globally. In the last video I did, I talked about, Gabriel blowing the horn and assembling the armies of heaven. So what this message is about has to do with there is a tsunami of truth rolling across the globe. Right now it is centering on America and all of the things that are going on here. So what do I mean when I say tsunami of truth? We're not talking just about what's going on governmentally and politically in our country. We're talking about what's going on for each one of us personally, also globally. As those of you who have been going through this ascension process and following along with it consciously know, we are being called to release everything that is not aligned with our authentic self, our true self, who we really are. Not who our ego tells us we are, but who from the inner reaches of our souls we know our truth to be. And to express that truth, all right, you see me here now, right? You see the issues with my dentition. I've got issues. Those are battle scars. But I can't let that stop me from doing what I'm doing. And there will come a time when this is able to be rectified, when I have the funds and the availability to do that. Right now, that's not the case. But it's coming. And one of the things that God told me, because trust me, I resisted doing videos for a while because of this happening and not wanting to present myself this way. I thought about hiding myself, right? And just doing a picture, or some kind of visual on the screen while I gave my message. And part of the letting go that I had to do with fear of rejection and judgment and people not being able to or wanting to hear what I say because they're too centered on what's going on with my teeth. And God told me that, I had to do this. I had to do it this way because this is my authentic self. I had to present myself as I am. And as soon as I did that, that would break open the pathways for the solution to appear. Like, this is like not a new issue. I've had dental issues for a long time. So this is part of that tsunami of truth. Outing myself. Each of us need to out yourselves, right? You need to out yourself. You need to be who you are, not pretending to be what others think you ought to be or pretending to be what others think is cool. But by being who you really are, not who you have trained to be by our culture and tribal constructs. Who are you really? And can you express that without fear? I'm here to tell you that yes, you can and you must, because that's part of not only me learning to release fear of judgment, right? That's one of the fears that we have going on, in fear of rejection. That's one of those tribal fears that have been conditioned into us. But it's also incumbent upon us to allow others to release their judgments, to begin to accept each other as we are, not as we have been trained that we should be, right? To fit in. Well, we don't all fit in, and that's a good thing because that's what we're here for. So how does this fit in with the tsunami of truth? This tsunami of truth has been coming in. It started in slow, right, years ago, but right now it is really building up, because that's what a tsunami does. It comes in and then it just keeps coming and coming and coming and coming, and gets deeper and stronger and goes further in and destroys everything in its path, releases all of the stuff that's in the way, that's hitting, that just destroys all of it, that doesn't align with its path and its function. It just overpowers every bit of it. So that's what's happening. This tsunami of truth you might think of as rolling waves of intense divine light and love coming through. Big confirmation on that from the team upstairs. I had a conversation with God about this morning, and he told me that now was the time to do this video because of what's going on in our country and in the world at large. And he showed me the timeline for this country's healing. And that timeline is absolutely infused. It's inflamed, but it's with all that's going on, right? When a wound heals, what's the first? It starts that you get like redness around the wound where the healing is taking place and it's coming back together. But sometimes before that happens, we have to open the wound up because there's infection underneath, and we've got to remove all of that and allow it then to heal naturally. And there is, that's what's going on. This infection is being exposed, the nastiness. Society's pus is coming up en masse to see for all of us. It's coming up in government. It's coming up corporately, right? Big tech, censorship in the most egregious way. Other things that are happening that you can see. And some of these you don't even know yet. Like, it was Italy who was the sponsor of election meddling. Well, actually, came from the Vatican, because the Vatican satellites were used to transmit the changes in the election reporting that swung everything, that gave all of these votes to Biden that shouldn't have been, took votes away from Trump. There are some of you listening that are saying that's hogwash. I'm sorry. I will try to post the link. This was revealed in court testimony in Italy just this last week. It's a shocker. And they have admitted what they did and how they did it, and it's backed up with evidence that they presented. I will try to post that link below if the powers that be in big tech will allow it. I'm trying not to get in trouble because I want to stay viable for you to hear me on this platform. If that doesn't happen, right, if I get thrown off of here for some reason, then you're going to see me on Rumble, or I will announce where I am going to be. But Rumble is probably the most likely space for me to do. Or BitChute, I don't know. But Rumble probably is calling my name as a viable candidate for what I do. Anyway, these are things that you haven't even seen yet that are being exposed by this tsunami of truth pouring through, this love and light, wave by wave by wave. What happened at the Capitol on the 6th was part of that exposure. That was part of the plan. What did we learn after that happened? You think we learned that a bunch of patriots really weren't and they were nasty people? No. We learned that there was a lot of deceit going on, a lot of betrayal, a lot of people who were only in things for their own interests, whether we believed in them or not, or supported them or not. And they didn't just betray the Trump supporters, they betrayed all of us. Because they proved once more that they didn't give a rat's patootie about what is good for this country. They only want what's good for them, and that's the continuation of the darkness that they have embedded themselves in and operated within, and lining their own pockets at the expense of our misery. If you don't believe that, then God bless you for living with those blinders on and being so comfortable in your life that you can't believe that anybody else could possibly be uncomfortable, that this couldn't be true. I bless you for that and say, good on you. But there are a lot of people, regardless of their financial or social position, who are suffering, who are being caged, who are being bound, silenced, limited in ways that normally only happen in communist countries and regimes. Look around. You know the censorship is real. And this regardless of politics, this censorship is taking place across the spectrum. Holistic and natural healing modalities have been under attack for a couple of years now. Facebook removed them en masse, all of their groups, all of their pages, thousands of them a couple of years ago. That should have been a wake-up call to all of you. That was, exposing what's going on. Everything that has caused all of this has been underlying the surface. It has only been in the last few years that we have forced their hand. The light has forced their hand to be exposed because they had to go to drastic measures to try and maintain the control they had over us beforehand, before the awakening came up, before the ascension got really going, and we started rising up and awakening and breaking free of these chains of control from our minds. And being able to look around and say, holy smokes, what's really going on? This doesn't sound right. This isn't cool. No, there's something wrong here. If you haven't gotten to that stage yet, you will. And because it's so late in the game, it may not be very pretty for you, because what's happening now as this tsunami of truth rolls through is that it's all being exposed. And we are being shown that things that we believe to be true are exactly opposite of truth. We're going into that upside down phase, right? We're going dark to light. And the people that are still with blinders on will find out that they're living in an upside down world where right is wrong and wrong is right. Up is down, down is up. You are living in an upside down world where your beliefs and view of things have been perverted by the programming that you've been exposed to. It's not your fault. We were all exposed to this. We were all brought up like that. Some of us who came here to catalyze this awakening, to bring in the light, to anchor it, so that we could help with this exposure, help people awaken. There are those of us who have remained largely immune from that upside down programming because of our mission here and the codes that we carried. That doesn't make us any better or any worse. It doesn't mean we went through less crap than anybody else. Trust me, right? Look at that. You want to tell me that that's part, those are my wounds. Those are my battle scars. Part of what I am dealing with still, as I have walked this path to bring in the light and anchor it here. So we could all wake up and we could all be free, to get free, to have the freedom of soul, mind, and body that this country was created to guarantee us. And those guarantees have been eroded because we have allowed it to happen. We have not been the stewards of our freedom that we should have been. And we are paying the price when we look around us. And everyone should be concerned about this. If you think that Trump is the problem, you're being misled. He is just the catalyst for what was always here that you were refusing to see. And now it has to be thrown in our faces in a way that we cannot ignore it. If you had any true idea what was really going on in the world, if your news stations that you were tuning into were actually telling you truth or giving you the whole picture and not just a little part of it, you would be more aware. But you have to start questioning. You cannot just accept that all of this that they're telling you is truth, because you have been conditioned to trust them as purveyors of truth and what is, and that way that absolves you of responsibility from trying to figure it out yourself. Well, newsflash, we have the responsibility to check this out. Just like I always ask you and tell you to check out in the spirit, right? What I'm telling you and the messages that I'm bringing through. Don't check them with your mind. Your mind is going to screw you over every time. Your ego lives there. Your ego is determined to maintain its own program. And if your ego does not want to believe the things that are going on, the things that are true, then your mind trying to figure out is not going to help. Go higher. Go higher. Above your mind. Go into deep meditation. Connect with God. Connect with divine source. Connect with divine truth. And ask to see what is the truth. Ask to know the truth. And to be released from the lies. Getting big. And right now, everybody watching this is receiving that connection now. Get out of your mind and into your spirit and divine aspects. Your higher self can see everything. It sees the truth. Learn to access it directly, not through the filter of your ego mind. Because much of what many of you are calling intuition is just ego triggering responses in you. And you may not believe that, but if you go higher, you can check it out. Test it out in the spirit, always. Start looking beyond what your media is telling you. Look to other sources. And yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable to begin with, and that is a symptom of how conditioned you have been to that vibration And that channel, it is part of the program conditioning, and that should alarm you. If you cannot go to another alternative media site and listen to their news and what they're telling you without being really energetically uncomfortable with it. I'm not talking about hearing what you're saying and what they're saying to you making you uncomfortable. That just tells you that what you've been listening to heretofore has some holes in it. But if the energy is making you uncomfortable, like you're in, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel good, I don't want to watch this. That is the symptom that you have been played and conditioned and programmed, and you are aligned with that vibration. And so you're automatically accepting anything holding that vibration, true or not. You're accepting that, and it's being shunted into your inner database and accepted as whole cloth. The tsunami of truth that's coming through us now is not going to allow that to continue. And the waves of love, right, that are forming that tsunami, one after the other, after the other, after the other. God showed me this timeline of healing. It is filled with love. And you would say, well, what do love and truth have to do with one another? Those of you who have been around me and listening to me for some time know what I'm going to say. Love reveals truth and restores truth. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that when something is created in this universe, it has an original template, blueprints and programming, all of the schematics, everything is formed. And that original form is its truth. It's what it meant to be, what it was meant to do, meant to represent. This is its truth. That applies to ideas and beliefs. It applies to things like our Constitution, the foundation, the founding principles on which the Bill of Rights and Constitution were created. It has to do with our, religious beliefs. It has to do with anything that is created, whether it be in physical or spiritual or mental form, right? Mental constructs are creations. Everything that is created, that original template is its truth. Anything that departs from that is a corruption of that truth. Now, there are occasionally adjustments and amendments made to upgrade things, right? We have been through upgrades galore through this ascension process. But that divinely created construct still is truth. When this truth gets corrupted by various means, is no longer doing what it was created to do, doesn't represent what it was meant to represent, that is, that's a corruption, and it's departed from its truth. So the energy's not our ego love here. We got to distinguish that. Divine love and ego love are two different, totally things. Again, divine love is all-inclusive, covers everything equally. Ego love is resonant and is exclusive. It doesn't cover everything equally. And you know that because you can't possibly love a serial killer standing in front of you the same way you love your husband or your spouse or your partner. All right, you can't love a statue the same way you love your dog, okay? Some of you may, all right, you may transfer, but it's a matter of resonance. So if you don't resonate with something highly, that the ego and your mind does not create the emotion of love for you. So that is not the love that we're talking about here. We are talking about divine love, the love of God, the sweet, amazing, joy-filled, pervasive love that equally is applied to everything. What that love does, because love is part of the creative process to begin with. And when love, these waves of love are coming through, right? When love hits these corrupted constructs, templates that no longer are aligned with their truth, right? That original purpose and template, love restores it. The energy of love restores it to its originally intended form with any upgrades that came along, divine upgrades that came along. But that's what love does. It restores things to their truth on the tiniest and on the grandest of scales. And right now, the healing timeline for this country to be healed and restored as it was intended to be to its truth is being infused with massive amounts of love. I mean, I was showered with just a portion of that so that I could understand what was going on. And it just almost melted me. It was wonderful and amazing, powerful. That's what's happening now. That's what this tsunami of truth is. It's a tsunami of waves of love coming and restoring truth throughout this country and throughout the world. Right now, the biggest focus is on the US because this is where the healing is most crucial. Everything else hinges on that. So don't focus on it being outside of you. Remember, I said this is hitting us personally as well. This tsunami of truth is coming and hitting us personally. If there are things in our lives that have been corrupted and taken away from their original divine templates, we are also being affected and truth is being restored. And in that restoration of truth, we may get very uncomfortable because we've gotten attached to that corrupted version of things. And we are, in some cases, even unable to see the truth of those things, don't want to see the truth of those things. But we're going to see them because they are being restored. Ugh. Yes, absolutely. And you just received a big dose of that too. That's what I'm getting is that all of you received a huge connection to the restoration of your own truth. Divine love infusions. Open to receive. Your soul has already agreed to receive this, and your higher self. When you see these things coming that are making you uncomfortable, instead of resisting them, you need to look into them. You need to say, why is this making me uncomfortable? What is being revealed to me here that I may not want to see? That's part of the tsunami of truth. It's rolling through. The love waves are coming and coming and coming, and they are not going to stop coming until everything that is not truth has been destroyed and washed away. and laid bare the foundations for us to reconstruct on, whether they are personal, whether they are societal, cultural, governmental. These waves of truth are coming in and coming in and coming in. And for those of you who are on either side of this supposed aisle, which really doesn't exist, right? This separation doesn't exist. Not with our souls, it doesn't exist. Those of you who are passing judgment on others for any reason, beware. Because I'm getting that karma on a lot of you is being applied instantaneously. Wow. This has nothing to do with past lives or things you've done in this lifetime. This has to do with the now. If you're passing judgment on others, you're deriding others or thinking down on them, or they're less than you, or that they're the cause of the problem and not you. If you're judging them for any reason, beware. Just beware. God has already put in place a reverse karmic shield around Congress and all the members of Congress and everybody who works in the Capitol complex. And what does this do? It prevents anything that would bring harm to this country or any of its citizens from leaving that building. Any of those things are going to immediately be reflected back to the creators of those things and all those who agreed to it. And it's not going to be pretty for them. And it's not going to wait till the next election. Getting yeses on all of this. And this doesn't only apply while they are in that building. This is coming with them as they travel. It's been applied to all of them. Now, this only applies to the actions they take that are done in contradiction to the truth of our Constitution and its intent, our Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, that would bring harm to the restoration of truth that God is putting in place. Any such things will be reflected and deflected right back to their creators and intended purveyors of these things. They are not going to leave the building. So be it, and so it is. I have seen it and know it to be so. God is not going to tolerate any more interference by the dark with the restoration of light, truth, and freedom for every soul on this planet. He's not going to let it go. The angels are loosed. God's warrior angels and his truth angels and his love angels, all angels of purification, have been loosed upon this planet. So I'm here to tell you we have this tsunami of truth, waves of love just coming and coming and coming and coming continuously. I'm here to tell you that that's what's taking place, both as an explanation so that you can understand what you're seeing in those terms from the higher perspective, and as a warning for those who would seek to stand in the way of the tsunami, because you are not going to survive it. You are going to be knocked aside and washed off. All right, big confirmation there, peeps. You just saw it. Stay in prayer. Pray for the freedom of humanity, regardless of our beliefs and our belief sets. We should all have the freedom to experience that, because that's what we're here. We incarnated so that we could experience all these things. And the difference is, if we wanted to be all one, we wouldn't have come here in the first place. We could have stayed in, we just stayed up there as part of God and just floated around up there being part of God and the one. We didn't have to come down here if we didn't want to experience difference. But we are here. And being different is not bad. Not accepting each other's differences is bad, because we are one, and that's what we're here to do. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Not everything you see are you going to agree with, but stay out of judgment about it. There's a big difference between judgment and discernment. Discernment is viewing a thing and thinking, I don't think I agree with that. That to me is not something I want to be associated with. Judgment is saying, you're bad because you're doing that. That's really bad. And how stupid can you be? And you're wrong. That's judgment. Stay away from that. Stay away from proclaiming your inherent rightness in any way. In the divine scale of things, every one of us is riding a short bus. And I don't want to hear any stuff about me saying the short bus. Because we are all challenged and inherently incapable of understanding it all. Ugh, yes, big confirmation. There will come a time when we will have better ability to understand and see from higher perspectives of what is going on, why it's going on, what's going to happen in the meantime, all that's causing it to happen, all of these things, without being embedded in our mind and what little information we can put in there. Because no matter what we're doing with our minds, whatever we're producing and decisions that we're making are always just our best guess. So I will leave you today with the message that it is time to stay connected, stay in truth, stay in your truth, be authentic. What are you hiding that you don't want people to see because you're afraid of judgment or rejection, right? Do you have a business and you're afraid that if somebody knows something about you that your business will suffer? Trust. Ask for healing of whatever this issue is. But then again, like me, the healing may not come until after you reveal your truth, if this is something that's deeply standing in your way. boy, oh boy, the confirmations are coming strong and hard today. Stand in your truth and express your truth. Be your truth. Be in your power. Claim your divine inheritance. But when you do, be prepared for everything that is not aligned with that to start showing up and causing you issues. Trust me. Trust me in that. Claim your divine inheritance. Open to soul and higher self and higher aspect guidance, to divine guidance. Oh. Wow, you guys are all receiving a boatload of stuff here as I'm talking today. This is why God wanted this out today, so that you could receive this. Those of you who are going to be guided to watch this are going to be receiving all of this today to help you move through all that's coming. And as these truths, you know, the love reveals the corruption and then restores it to truth. So as this stuff comes up, right, the just clearing out the wounds and the garbage until the healing can actually commence. It's not going to be pretty because it has been embedded deeply in our culture. And that culture is personal culture as well as external culture and tribal culture. So know that this is what's coming, and well, it's not just coming, it's here, and it's been here for a while. But right now we are seeing it accelerated as it continues to come in wave by wave by wave, level by level by level by level, as it goes up. And I was just thinking the other day that in years to come, future history, when they write about this time, it will be like the greatest story ever told, book 2. None of us who are living through this will ever be able to watch another Hollywood action pick or thriller with the same zeal and interest as before, because this takes the cake on all of it. What we have been living is beyond description at this point. And the retelling of it in years, in the years to come, isn't even going to come close to the experience that we are having now. So if you have, this is a virtual reality drama playing out, but we are in this. There's no digital codes. There's nothing in front of our faces that is making us think that we are in it, and we are playing out this scenario because it's what we prayed for. And it's what we came here to do. It's why we are here now in this timeline. And I, for one, ups and downs and roller coaster ride, rough, bumpy roads, the ugliness of it, all in all, no matter how bad it seems externally, I can feel the light, the love, and the joy that is just underneath the surface. It is so exciting to see all of this coming to be, right? It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I thank God every day that He has chosen me to be part of it, and chosen all of you who I know to be part of it. We are just So grateful. And I will leave it at that. I will close it there because really I've said all that needs to be said that you all needed to hear. You've received the transmissions and the downloads that you needed to receive. Oh, there's one more coming. I love you all. God bless you. Thank you for being here with me today and allowing me to be the mouthpiece that God and his angels have asked me to be today for you. I'm not doing this for me. If any of you would like to donate to my cause, there will be information in the box below this video to allow you to do that if you want to. I don't get paid to do this. I don't have another job that I do outside the home. I'm 68 years old. This is what I do. And I deal with my clients and students, and I have that going on. If you get value from what I give to you here, and you wish to express that through an energy exchange, then the information is provided below for you to do that. And I thank you and bless you for it. Farewell. Rough seas ahead. Batten down the hatches. Put on the seatbelts. Tie yourself in. Stay connected with the divine and stay grounded and centered. It's all good. Be a Weeble. Until next time. See ya.